The journey to explore our world is always full of countless secrets, from strange attacks on the Amazon River to signs of old civilizations buried deep under the North Sea. Each story, whether about weird creatures in the jungle, ruins taken over by the wilderness, or odd natural events, gives us new ways to look at history, science, and the big story of how humans have grown. Come along as we uncover these secrets in today's video. So, buckle up as we jump into today's mystery. But first, you'll be very lucky if you hit like and subscribe before this video ends. The Forbidden Zone of Mongolia. Across the wide open steppes of Mongolia lies an area that for hundreds of years has been hidden behind a thick veil of secrecy. According to legend, this is the very land where Genghis Khan, the great ruler whose victories once shook the old world, was put to rest. This is no ordinary burial place. Instead, it is a completely off-limits zone, so carefully guarded that almost no outsider has ever stepped inside its borders. The legend says that after Genghis Khan died during his fight against the Western Shia, his followers brought his body back to his homeland. To keep the location of his tomb a secret, everyone who saw the funeral procession, from servants to the soldiers who escorted it, was killed on the way back. All signs of the burial site were wiped out. The ground was made flat, and herds of horses were driven over it to erase the last traces. From that moment on, a huge area covering hundreds of square miles was completely closed off. Only the direct family of Genghis Khan was allowed to enter. For everyone else, it became a land of curses and danger, a place where death could find anyone who crossed its secret border. For centuries, no one has known exactly where the tomb is. The people of Mongolia have kept this legend alive as part of their national identity. In modern times, as curiosity about the mystery has only grown, the world has made several attempts to uncover the secrets of this land. The most dramatic of these came when Stalin himself, the leader of the Soviet Union, sent secret trips to Mongolia hoping to find the Great Khan's final resting place. Yet, every effort ended in failure. The Forbidden Zone stayed like a ghost across the steppes, unmoved by modern tools or human persistence. To this day, rumors and guesses about the tomb of Genghis Khan continue to spread. Some believe it holds the lost treasures of the Mongol Empire. Others think the area is deeply holy, the center of power for the whole nation. But whatever the truth may be, the mystery of the Forbidden Zone and the tomb of Genghis Khan remains one of humanity's biggest historical puzzles, challenging every new generation to seek the final answer. The Island of Statues, San Augustine. Hidden deep within the thick mountains and forests of southern Colombia, the archaeological site of San Augustine has long amazed researchers and experts from around the world. Known to many as the Second Easter Island, this remote place is home to a huge old cemetery and hundreds of mysterious stone statues, the largest group of its kind anywhere in South America. Surrounded by green mountains and misty valleys, San Augustine feels like stepping into another world, a place where time itself seems to pause in the heart of an endless jungle. The stone statues here are carved from solid blocks of rock. Each one has strange shapes and expressions. Some of them even remind people of the famous Moai statues of Easter Island far away in the Pacific Ocean. This striking likeness has fed countless ideas about a possible link between old civilizations on these two far-apart lands. Could it be that across the vast South American forests and the lonely islands of the Pacific, there once was a sharing of knowledge, or even bold ocean trips, by people long forgotten? Though no clear answer has ever been found, this mystery continues to spark the imagination of generation after generation. What makes San Augustine even more amazing is that it is not only home to these large stone statues, but also to a complex system of old tombs and underground burial chambers. These tombs were built with great skill. Their entrances are hidden deep under the earth and the thick jungle, as if carefully meant to guard the secrets of a long-lost age. Many of the burial sites remain untouched, their insides still holding bones and grave goods, giving us precious glimpses into the complex funeral rituals and mysterious beliefs of this ancient people. Perhaps the biggest mystery of San Augustine is the sudden disappearance of the civilization that made it. Sometime around the 9th century, the master builders, sculptors, and the whole community vanished without a trace, leaving behind these huge works in silence. No records or written accounts tell why they left or what happened to them. All that remains are the silent stone figures, moss-covered tombs, and the lasting legends that have never truly faded. Today, San Augustine stands not only as a monument to a civilization that once thrived, but also as a challenge to archaeologists and anyone fascinated by the lasting mysteries of the past. Deep within the Colombian mountains, the ancient statues of San Augustine still stand quietly, as if waiting for the day when humanity will finally uncover the true story behind South America's second Easter Island. The Battle of Visby. nestled in the heart of the beautiful Swedish island of Gotland. The city of Visby once saw one of the most brutal and tragic battles of the medieval era. In the summer of 1361, strong Danish forces, under King Valdemar IV, landed on Gotland's shores, driven by goals to take over the wealthy island, then a busy trading center in the Baltic Sea. Standing against them were the defenders of Gotland, most of whom were local farmers and merchants, with only a handful who had ever used weapons in battle. The fight broke out just outside Visby's city walls, and ended in a single day. But its aftermath would prove unimaginable when modern archaeologists dug up the fields near the walls. They found mass graves filled with the remains of fallen warriors, many still wearing their iron armor. The skeletons showed clear signs of violence, pierced by spear points, sword blades, and the edges of battle axes. Many of these remains were found with weapons still stuck in bone, broken arrows, daggers, and even swords wedged deep into chests or spines, standing as silent witnesses to the savagery of the clash. But that was not all. Archaeologists also found countless helmets, rings, belt buckles, leather shoes, and coins, all remnants that brought to mind the image of a ragtag army that, despite lacking proper training, did not lack courage. The sight of skeletons stacked on top of each other, many faces frozen in a final painful look, painted a stark and sorrowful picture of the destruction the battle had caused. The tragedy of Visby marked not only the fall of Gotland into Danish hands, but also exposed the full cruelty of feudal warfare in northern Europe. Through every layer of soil, every piece of bone and battered weapon, the story of Visby continues to be told, a tale soaked in blood and tears, reminding future generations of the true cost of ambition, power, and the devastating force of history that humanity has endured. The skull of Paranthropus Robustus. There are archaeological discoveries that do more than shed light on an extinct species. They force the world to rethink its own evolutionary journey. In an old cave in South Africa, scientists managed to rebuild an almost perfectly preserved skull of Paranthropus robustus, a creature that lived 2 million years ago, roaming the African savannas alongside the direct ancestors of modern humans, Homo erectus. Paranthropus robustus did not belong to the main branch of the human family tree, but it served as one of nature's experiments, a different offshoot in evolution. This species had unusually large teeth and jaws, strong enough to crush tough roots and hard seeds in a harsh landscape. Its brain was much smaller than that of Homo erectus, the species that would eventually give rise to modern humanity. This striking contrast shows that at one time, nature did not always choose intelligence as the ultimate advantage. Instead, survival sometimes depended more on sheer physical strength and the ability to adapt to the toughest food sources. Although they lived side by side in the same era, Paranthropus robustus and Homo erectus represented two completely different evolutionary paths. One advanced through intelligence, learning to make tools, control fire, and slowly expand its territory. The other relied on unique physical traits to survive the challenges of the natural world. It was this parallel existence that created a variety and complexity never seen before in the history of human evolution. When global climate change swept across the planet millions of years ago, the environment of Paranthropus robustus changed quickly. The species was forced to either adapt or face extinction. Major shifts in climate and ecosystems caused their traditional food sources to become scarce. Even with bodies shaped for survival in the old environment, they could not keep up with the fast pace of change. And ultimately, Paranthropus robustus was pushed to the very edge of extinction. The discovery of an exceptionally well-preserved Paranthropus robustus skull is more than just another piece in the puzzle of evolution. It lets scientists better understand the complex interactions among ancient human species. It is a strong reminder that evolution has never been a straight line, but rather a journey full of forks, experiments, and failures. Only those truly adaptable, those able to change with the world, could endure. Today, as scientists hold this skull in their hands, they cannot help but marvel at the rich variety of early humans that once walked the earth. The remains of Paranthropus robustus are not just proof of a path left behind, but a reminder of the fragility of every evolutionary branch and of the lessons in strength that nature has carved into every fossil. The islands beneath the North Sea. Amid the huge expanse of the North Sea, there once existed a land that stretched from England all the way to the shores of the Netherlands, a place now known as Doggerland, a realm that has since sunk into legend tens of thousands of years ago. This was not just a fertile plain filled with thick forests, rivers, and lakes. It was home to some of the earliest hunting and gathering communities in Europe. Doggerland once connected Britain to the European continent, acting as a natural bridge that allowed people to move, share knowledge, and expand their territories. But around 6200 BC, a massive geological event forever changed the fate of this land. A huge tsunami known as the Storiga disaster swept most of Doggerland beneath the waves, completely redrawing the map of the region. While it seemed the entire land would be lost forever, researchers have since found that part of Doggerland managed to stay above the water, forming a chain of small islands that lasted for thousands of years after the disaster. These remnants were named the Dogger Archipelago, along with Dogger Island, a highland rising from the sea, once the last refuge for the survivors. Remarkably, it is believed that these survivors may have brought with them the knowledge of farming from continental Europe to England, helping to shape the course of history across this new land. Archaeological evidence even suggests that the remaining islands may have supported Stone Age villages, opening a door to mysteries never before solved about the earliest days of British civilization. Today, Doggerland still lies buried beneath the depths of the North Sea, but stories of this lost world continue to inspire scientists to dive deeper, to search for traces, and hope that one day, the secrets of what is often called Europe's Atlantis will finally be revealed. The UFO mystery in the Amazon. If the Amazon rainforest has always been a place full of old legends about monsters and mysterious tribes, then in modern times, it has become the setting for stories even stranger. Tales of unidentified flying objects. One of the most talked about mysteries in recent years revolves around a strange image captured on Google Maps, a weird glowing streak, cutting across the thick forest canopy in Brazil. From above, this shiny trail looked like a cigar-shaped object, eerily similar to the classic descriptions of spacecraft said to have brought alien visitors to Earth. It didn't take long for the photo to go viral on forums, TV shows, and among groups passionate about UFO phenomena. Some insisted it was clear proof that something truly extraordinary was happening in the heart of the Amazon, a region still largely unexplored by humans. Others leaned toward more practical explanations, suggesting it might be a trick of the light, a passing airplane caught by a satellite camera, or perhaps just one of nature's strange coincidences. Yet, the fact that no one could definitively explain where this mysterious light came from only added fuel to the ongoing fascination with UFOs in the Amazon. This was not the first time stories of unidentified flying objects had emerged from this region. Local legends, tourist reports, and blurry video clips continue to surface, weaving a tapestry of mystery among the endless green. Perhaps the image is nothing more than a chance oddity. Or perhaps it serves as a reminder that the Amazon still holds countless secrets beyond our understanding. Whatever the truth behind that mysterious streak of light, it has added another chapter to the Amazon's ever-growing collection of UFO stories, turning the rainforest into one of the world's true hotspots for unexplained phenomena. And who knows, maybe hidden beneath the tangled canopy, something truly extraordinary is still waiting to be discovered. Civil War trenches unearthed at the University of Tennessee. Right in the heart of the University of Tennessee campus, an unexpected discovery has allowed students and researchers to travel back in time, back to one of the most important moments in American history. It all began when workers started digging the foundation for a new building near the parking lot. Little did they know that beneath the asphalt lay secrets that had been buried for more than a century. Fueled by young curiosity, students quickly joined forces with archaeologists, and in no time at all, they uncovered the remains of a trench system, along with old lead bullets and traces of long-forgotten military camps. These artifacts are real reminders of the Battle of Fort Sanders, which took place in 1863, a clash that played a key role in the American Civil War. Although the battle lasted just 20 minutes, its impact was huge. Union forces held on to Knoxville and kept control over the vital railroad in East Tennessee, securing supply lines and reinforcements for the Southern Front. To many, those cold steel rails might have seemed like nothing more than transportation. But at that time, every mile of track could mean the difference between survival and defeat for an entire city, or even an entire region. For the students who saw those old lead bullets and the still visible outlines of trenches, history suddenly came alive. No longer just words in a textbook. The past became something real and immediate, connecting generations across time. Beneath what seemed to be nothing more than quiet soil, the memories of long-gone soldiers lay waiting, ready to be told to those willing to listen. Thanks to these discoveries, everyone has a chance to reflect on the true cost of peace and the deeper meaning of history. That sometimes the most valuable lessons are quite literally right beneath our feet, waiting to be unearthed and understood. Artificial islands in the jungle. Amid the seemingly unchanging wilderness of the Amazon rainforest, archaeologists have uncovered a mystery that has left the world stunned. They discovered that, thousands of years ago, Prehistoric communities found ways to master their environment through remarkable cleverness and creativity. Not only did these ancient people survive in one of the world's most challenging landscapes, they built artificial islands amid the thick forest and the flooded plains of the Amazon. Through satellite images and careful digging, researchers have revealed thousands of earthen mounds rising from low-lying areas, places that during the rainy season turn into a huge inland sea. These were not just ordinary heaps of dirt, but the product of relentless work and a deep understanding of the environment. Each artificial island was built by layering earth high enough to protect crops from rising floodwaters. Thanks to this new method, ancient Amazonians were able to grow crops like squash, sweet potatoes, and cassava, keeping food supplies throughout the year, even during long floods. This discovery has dramatically changed our understanding of prehistoric people in the Amazon. Far from being scattered bands of hunters and gatherers, these early inhabitants were true builders of nature. Creating artificial islands not only helped them adapt to changing climate and rising water, but also set the stage for large-scale farming. Nearly 10,000 years ago, the Amazon landscape, once thought to be entirely natural, now shows the clear mark of human hands, stretching back to ancient times. With these earthworks, ancient communities prove their extraordinary intelligence and ability to adapt, turning a harsh rainforest into a place where life could grow and survive. Their legacy is a clear reminder that from the dawn of history, people have been shaping their world, laying the foundations for complex native civilizations and leaving behind a quiet mystery deep within the Amazon. 1/3 of America's rivers changed color in 36 years. When scientists look down at the United States from space, they don't just see rivers winding through wide prairies and busy cities. They also notice a subtle, yet troubling change taking place in nature. By studying tens of thousands of satellite images collected non-stop over 36 years, experts discovered that more than 1/3 of America's rivers have changed color, shifting from clear blue to muddy yellow or algae green. Behind these changes lies a long story about humanity's impact on the natural world. The blue color of rivers, a sign of pure, clean water, is slowly being replaced by shades of yellow, caused by large amounts of sediment washed in from the land during heavy rains, the spread of farming, or erosion from mining and building. In many other places, the water has turned green, showing blooms of algae fueled by runoff from fertilizers and waste. Sometimes, these color shifts are the result of dissolved organic compounds in the water, or even early warnings of industrial and city pollution. What's particularly notable is that this change isn't happening the same way everywhere. In the north and western United States, many rivers are taking on a greenish hue as algae levels rise. Meanwhile, rivers in the east and southeast are turning yellow due to sediment and floating particles. There are still rivers that keep their original clean blue, but their numbers are shrinking each year. The changing colors of these rivers are more than just visual shifts. They are warning signs of environmental change, with long-term effects on the health of ecosystems and for human life itself. Still, scientists stress that river color can recover if sources of pollution and harmful impacts are brought under control. This research doesn't just offer a broad view of what's happening to America's rivers. It also serves as a reminder that nature's once pure waters are remarkably fragile, but they can also be protected and revived when we choose to value them and act in time. The ghost city swallowed by the jungle. Concluding our journey through the mysteries of the Amazon is the strange tale of a ghost city, long mentioned in old documents. But for centuries, it existed only as a faint shadow in the imagination of researchers. This was once a thriving Portuguese settlement in the 18th century, which suddenly vanished without a trace as the jungle crept in, burying all memory of its days of glory. For over 200 years, this city was known only from a few scattered lines on old weathered maps. No name, no coordinates, and few truly believed it ever existed within the vastness of the Amazon. But thanks to breakthroughs in modern technology, especially LiDAR scanning, the final mystery was finally revealed. Under the direction of Professor Eduardo Neves, a team of Brazilian archaeologists used LiDAR to peel back the thick forest. And to their amazement, they discovered clear traces of an old city landscape, roads, building foundations, and even public works, all lying buried beneath layers of soil and trees. This discovery not only rebuilds an important chapter in Brazil's colonial history, but also opens up new views on the lives, work, and cultural exchanges between Europeans and native communities. Through the ruins, researchers are slowly piecing together how this once booming city thrived on gold, coffee, sugar, and the forced labor of thousands of enslaved people, only to vanish, silently swallowed by the ever-encroaching rainforest. The importance of this find goes far beyond reviving forgotten pages of history. This research plays a key role in efforts to protect the Amazon ecosystem, for when archaeological heritage is recognized, it is protected as an inseparable part of both history and nature. The Amazon Revealed project not only helps future generations better understand the past, but also inspires a sense of duty to safeguard the priceless cultural and environmental values that the Amazon has preserved for thousands of years. The giant prehistoric dolphin, monster of the Amazon. Millions of years before today's lush Amazon rainforest ever existed, this land was a completely different world. Back then, it was a realm of swamps and huge lakes stretching across South America. Within that ancient ecosystem, there lived a powerful and mysterious creature, one whose very name can spark the imagination of anyone fascinated by prehistoric mysteries. The giant dolphin known as Pebonista yak. Paleontologists have discovered fossils of this dolphin, showing that it once reached lengths of over 3.5 meters, far larger than any modern Amazon River dolphin. Pebonista yakaruna was truly the king of the huge lakes and endless marshes of the ancient Amazon, ruling these waters some 16 million years ago. The fossil evidence was unearthed on the banks of the Rio Napo, following a tough journey through thick mud, swarms of jungle mosquitoes, and all the dangers of the wild. This discovery not only shed light on the evolutionary history of dolphins, but also opened up an entirely new window into a lost world, one in which rivers and lakes were like small oceans teeming with all sorts of weird creatures. What's especially remarkable is that Pebonista yakaruna is closely related to river dolphins found today in Asia, such as the Ganges river dolphin and the Irrawaddy dolphin. Despite being separated by thousands of miles, both developed highly advanced echolocation abilities, allowing them to hunt with great efficiency in waters thick with mud and silt. With their uniquely shaped skulls and snouts, Pebonista yakaruna could actually see with sound, easily finding and catching prey hidden beneath deep mud or in thick underwater plants. This amazing skill turned it into the top predator of the ancient Amazon swamp ecosystem. As time passed, those huge ancient lakes began to dry up and the environment changed. Giants like Pebonista yakaruna could no longer thrive. In their place, smaller, more agile dolphins emerged and continued the evolutionary story at the heart of the Amazon. Even so, the fossils of Pebonista yakaruna remain a strong reminder of a mysterious golden age when gigantic creatures once ruled the rivers and lakes, leaving their mark deep in the natural history of South America. And who's to say, perhaps mysteries just like these are still waiting to be uncovered somewhere in the silent, muddy depths of the Amazon today. The ancient cave city of Matera, a hidden gem nestled in the heart of Italy, is a city that carries within its stones the traces of more than 10,000 years of human history. In prehistoric times, this land was a refuge for some of the earliest humans who sought shelter in the natural caves carved into the rocky hillsides to escape the wind, rain, and wild animals. Those cold gray stone ceilings have witnessed countless generations of ancient people, creating one of the longest continuously inhabited places known to humankind. As the centuries passed, Matera slowly took on a new look. From simple rooms dug deep into the mountain, entire communities expanded their network of caves, linking them together into small underground villages. When the civilization of ancient Greece eventually spread to southern Italy, a real town began to form above ground, right on top of those age-old caverns. Trade with larger cities, especially with Rome, helped Matera slowly change, yet social divides remained stubbornly in place. Wealthy families built their homes on the surface, while the poor continued to live in the cold, damp recesses of the rock below. The harshness of life underground lingered until the mid-20th century, and for a time Matera was known as the shame of Italy due to its poverty, disease, and living conditions few today can even imagine. It was not until the 1950s that the Italian government began moving about 16,000 people out of the caves, finally ending nearly 10,000 years of life lived in darkness and dampness. As time went on, those stone rooms seemed destined to be forgotten forever. But by the early 1990s, a quiet wave of change began. Some locals recognized the unique potential of these ancient caves. With passion and determination, they set about restoring every corner, installing modern plumbing, heating, and ventilation, and turning these primitive spaces into some of the most comfortable and unique homes in the world. Today, Matera has completely reinvented itself. The caves that were once linked to hardship and sorrow are now luxurious getaways, attracting visitors from all over the globe. Many boutique hotels, restaurants, and stylish cafes have opened right inside the rock, where guests can experience the feeling of bathing in a stone tub within ancient walls, perhaps in the very spaces where their distant ancestors lived tens of thousands of years ago. The story of Matera stands as a vivid example of the power of renewal, where history, memory, and creativity come together to turn a stain on the nation into a timeless symbol of Italian art, of living and lasting identity. The Temple of Borobudur, on the lush green island of Java in Indonesia, surrounded by mountains and winding rivers, stands the magnificent Temple of Borobudur. This is the largest Buddhist monument in the world and one of the most sacred symbols in all of Southeast Asia. Built around the 7th century during the reign of the Salandra dynasty, Borobudur is not only an architectural wonder but also a center of pilgrimage where tens of thousands of devotees gather each year, seeking peace and spiritual enlightenment by walking the sacred paths that circle its many tiers. The golden age of Borobudur lasted for centuries, during a time when Indonesia was still a land of Buddhism and Hinduism. But history eventually took a different turn. As waves of Arab traders arrived on the shores of Java, they brought with them a new religion, Islam. With the spread of new beliefs and customs, the Buddhist community slowly shrank, and Borobudur was gradually abandoned. The sound of prayers faded, and the footsteps of pilgrims vanished. The tropical jungle began to reclaim the monument, its vines and thick vegetation quietly covering the stone terraces, turning Borobudur into a forgotten mystery swallowed by the wild. It was not until 1814, during a Dutch exploration, that Borobudur was accidentally rediscovered, after centuries hidden beneath the green canopy of the ancient forest. The first glimpse revealed a stone marvel, battered by time, covered in moss and wild grass, yet still possessing an overwhelming, indescribable beauty. The process of digging out and restoring would take many decades, requiring the effort and skill of generations of archaeologists, engineers, and craftsmen. Today, Borobudur has been almost fully restored, standing tall amid the beautiful landscape of Java, and has become Indonesia's most renowned spiritual destination. Visitors from all over the world flock here to admire its unique architecture: 9 stacked stone terraces, 504 peaceful Buddha statues, and 2,670 exquisite relief panels depicting legends, Buddhist teachings, and humanity's timeless longing for goodness. Borobudur is not only a witness to a turbulent history, but also an enduring symbol of the strength of culture, faith, and the extraordinary creativity that people can give to stone, to space, and to time itself. The Neolithic smokehouse. Deep in the wilds of Siberia, archaeologists have uncovered a remarkable site, an area filled with large pits used by prehistoric people to process and preserve food as far back as 5,000 years ago. These earth pits were far more than just places to smoke meat. They were the scene of group rituals where entire communities gathered to handle huge amounts of meat after each hunting season, creating a unique kind of ancient shared kitchen, rarely found so well preserved anywhere else in the world. During excavations, researchers found not only the bones of fish, dogs, and foxes, but also remains of animals like wolverines and bears, creatures that don't naturally live in the region. Their presence raises fascinating questions about where the meat came from, about trade, hunting trips, or perhaps even mysterious ritual activities that once took place here. It's possible that people in the distant past brought these animals from far-off lands, either for important ceremonies or to add to the community's food supply during special occasions. What's truly fascinating is that the ancient smoking method once used in this region still survives among the people of Siberia today. After thousands of years, the tradition of smoking meat in earth pits has kept its value, helping to preserve food through the harsh winter months, while also bringing people together for shared preparation. This is a remarkable bridge between past and present, linking the prehistoric communities to the modern people of the vast Siberian landscape. The discovery of this Neolithic smokehouse not only reveals how ancient people adapted to a harsh and resource-scarce climate, but also highlights the advanced survival skills and cleverness woven into daily life. Buried beneath the frozen earth, these ancient smoke pits seem to tell the story of togetherness, community spirit, and the sacred mysteries of a lost culture that once thrived in the endless expanse of Siberia. Part 16. The discovery of a Bronze Age sword and axe. What seemed like just another day wandering through the woods after a rainstorm soon turned into an unexpected journey all the way back to the roots of history itself. In the beautiful region of Jeseník, Czech Republic, Roman Novak, a local mushroom forager like so many others, experienced a morning he would never forget. As dewdrops still clung to the leaves, he happened to notice a metal object poking out from the rocky, damp earth. Curiosity got the better of him, and with a gentle nudge of his foot, he quickly realized this was no broken branch or random scrap of metal. Beneath the forest floor, Roman had uncovered a broken bronze sword, snapped just above the handle, along with a small axe, both covered in the patina of age. They were not the prized mushrooms he had been hoping to find, but this newfound treasure proved to be worth far more than he could have ever imagined. Roman wasted no time and notified the Opava Regional Museum. Archaeological experts soon arrived to examine the site, conducting a thorough excavation and detailed study of the two artifacts. The sword, with its blade broken, but its 8-sided handle, decorated with carved rings and detailed patterns, led the specialists to believe that it was much more than a simple weapon. It was likely a symbol of status, belonging to someone who once held real power, Bronze Age Rolex, as it were, signaling both wealth and authority. The axe, meanwhile, was identified as a typical product of the Czech region, cast from pure bronze, using traditional ancient molding techniques. Chemical testing and metal analysis revealed even more fascinating details. Archaeologists now think that the sword was forged in northern Europe around 1300 BC, and yet, how it found its way to a remote forest in Central Europe remains a mystery. Could this be proof of migration, trade, or perhaps the legendary journey of some ancient warrior? In those days, weapons were more than tools of defense. They were gifts, trophies, and sometimes powerful symbols of alliances between cultures. Although the spot where these artifacts were found lies far from any known ancient settlement or famous archaeological site, and nothing else has turned up in the area, the sword and axe hint at a hidden story of cultural exchange and movement during the Bronze Age. Their journey through time and across continents is still a riddle, one that stirs the imagination of anyone fascinated by history. Roman Novak's discovery is also a strong reminder that the treasures of the past sometimes reveal themselves in the most ordinary places at the most unexpected moments. In the rhythm of everyday life, with just a little curiosity and a bit of luck, anyone might stumble upon the traces of ancient civilizations, each artifact holding secrets that have yet to be unraveled. The oldest metal hand in Europe. At the end of 2018, archaeologists in Switzerland announced a discovery that sent shockwaves through the European research community. A bronze hand buried with the dead, dating back 3,500 years to the Middle Bronze Age. What made this artifact truly remarkable was its size, just slightly smaller than a real human, handcrafted with impressive skill, and fitted with a socketed base so it could be attached to a staff or handle. To add to its mysterious appearance, the wrist was covered with a thin layer of gold. This bronze hand was found among a collection of grave goods in the tomb of a middle-aged man. Alongside the hand were items of jewelry, cloakpins, and another small piece of gold all, pointing to the fact that the man buried here had once belonged to a special class in ancient society. Yet, what really stunned researchers was just how unique this artifact was. Out of the thousands of Bronze Age graves dug up across Europe, nothing like this no-metal, prosthetic, or symbolic hand had ever been found before. Many mysteries still surround the true purpose of this bronze hand. Some believe it may have served as a symbol of power or a religious object, since its size and shape don't suggest it was ever meant to work as an actual prosthetic. It's also possible the hand was once mounted on top of a ceremonial staff, marking it as a sign of authority or a mark of identity for an important person within the community. Whatever its original purpose may have been, the discovery of this artifact has shed new light on the metalworking, craftsmanship, and spiritual life of ancient Europeans. This one-of-a-kind relic is not only proof of human creativity, but also a reminder of the countless mysteries from our history that still remain unsolved. The failed cemetery, the idea of a modern cemetery built underground, once promised to change the way people think about their final resting place. Memorial Mound in Alabama stands as a prime example of such ambition. This project was launched with high hopes as its creators sought to design a memorial space that was both dignified and comfortable, offering a new alternative to traditional cemeteries. Memorial Mound was conceived as a huge underground structure, buried deep below the surface, and topped with a thick layer of earth to form a prominent mound. Inside, burial chambers lined the hallways, complete with clear lighting and walkways. Visitors could come to pay their respects, leave flowers, and even use computer terminals to view photos and videos of loved ones kept within. The vision of a clean, modern, and private burial space captured the curiosity and hopes of many. But reality quickly drifted from those early expectations. Only a few years after opening, Memorial Mound fell into neglect. The number of families choosing it as a final resting place was far too low to keep it running and maintained. After the founder passed away, the facility was abandoned. Funeral supplies, memorial equipment, and stacks of paperwork were left behind in disarray, gathering dust and slowly decaying with time. Years later, when a group of urban explorers accidentally entered Memorial Mound, they were faced with a scene of haunting neglect. The inside had been vandalized. Belongings were scattered everywhere, and the hallways were cold and dark. Many graves still displayed their nameplates and faded artificial flowers, but no one came to visit. The whole space had become a symbol of a broken dream, a modern structure that never truly connected with tradition or the deeper feelings of the community. Eventually, the graves inside were moved by local authorities, and Memorial Mound was sealed off for good. The fate of this failed cemetery stands as a stark lesson about the gap between bold ideas and the realities of life, as well as the lasting value of tradition when people face the mysteries of life and death. The missing Christmas plane crash. Amid the hustle and bustle of the year-end holiday season, the Amazon rainforest became the scene of a quiet, haunting tragedy. This is the story of the ill-fated flight of young pilot Rodrigo B. Machado and his companion, a journey that should have been routine, but instead ended in heartbreak for their families, friends, and the people living near the crash site. On the 20th of December 2024, Rodrigo prepared for a short flight from the small town of Barcelos to Mound. It was a familiar route for those who called the Amazon home, where roads are almost non-existent, and travel between communities depends on boats or small aircraft. But this time, Rodrigo made a critical mistake. He did not file a flight plan, did not turn on any location beacon, and failed to tell anyone his exact plans. In a vast, dangerous region like the Amazon, that was a risky decision, because if anything went wrong, rescuers would have almost no starting point for their search. Just a day after the plane took off, Rodrigo's friends and family sensed something was terribly wrong when they couldn't reach him. Authorities, the Air Force, police, and search teams quickly joined forces in the search. But the Amazon is not easily conquered. The dense, endless forest, treacherous ground, and thick canopy that hides every trace made the search a huge challenge for both people and technology. It was not until Christmas Day, 5 days after the disappearance, that the rescue team finally found the wreckage of the plane deep in the jungle, with the bodies of Rodrigo and his companions still inside. The scene of destruction stood in stark contrast to the season's usual joy, leaving a heavy sorrow in the hearts of everyone who saw it. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the dangers and unforgiving nature of travel in the Amazon, where every flight carries unpredictable risks. The tough terrain, rapidly changing weather, and the lack of effective rescue infrastructure have caused countless accidents, with victims who are often lost forever in the silent embrace of the jungle. Rodrigo's story is not just the sorrow of one family. It is a solemn warning to anyone who dreams of conquering or living in this challenging land. In the Amazon, a single moment of carelessness can cost you your life. The blood-sucking wasp of the Amazon. Deep beneath the thick canopy of the Amazon rainforest, where humans have yet to set foot in every corner, there are still weird creatures lurking, guaranteed to send a chill down the spine of anyone who hears about them. Among these, the discovery of the parasitic wasp Capitojapa amazonica in Peru is a striking example of the gruesome mysteries the Amazon still keeps hidden from the world. Capitojapa amazonica is a tiny wasp with a striking yellow color, but behind its bright exterior lies a life of savage parasitism, almost too shocking to believe. Scientists first encountered this species while setting up large nets in the heart of the forest, hoping to discover insects unknown to science. What they found went far beyond their expectations. Wasp not only new to science, but with survival habits straight out of a nightmare. The reproductive process of Capitojapa amazonica is a horror show for its unlucky victims. First, the female uses her long antennae to sniff out and identify the perfect host, usually caterpillars, beetle larvae, or even small spiders. Once she has chosen her target, she stealthily approaches, and in an instant, drives her sharp ovipositor through the host's tough outer skin, simultaneously injecting eggs and sucking blood directly from the wound. The ruthless face of nature is on full display as the egg hatches into a larva inside the host, beginning a gruesome process of eating it from the inside out, little by little, until the host is drained and ultimately dies. In some cases, the mother wasp doesn't even bother to lay eggs. She simply drinks blood to fuel her next reproductive cycle, turning herself into a temporary vampire of the rainforest. This discovery stunned scientists and served as a powerful reminder to the world. Deep in the Amazon jungle, hundreds or even thousands of bizarre species may still exist, their lives and behaviors yet unrecorded by humans. The story of Capitojapa amazonica is a vivid example of the Amazon's spellbinding and sometimes terrifying biodiversity, a world where every expedition holds the promise of surprise, fueling the curiosity of anyone drawn to wild nature. Who can say how many more strange creatures remain, waiting in the shadows of the deep forest, yet to be revealed to humanity? England's ancient fence, stretching nearly 270 kilometers along the border between England and Wales. Offa's Dyke is one of the most remarkable ancient monuments ever built in Britain. Constructed in the 8th century, during the reign of King Offa of Mercia, this massive earthwork winds its way through rolling hills, valleys, and villages, leaving a clear mark on the English landscape for more than 1,000 years. To this day, the true purpose of Offa's Dyke remains a major mystery. Some historians believe it once served as a territorial boundary, separating the Anglo-Saxon and Celtic cultures during some of the most turbulent times in England's history. Others suggest it was built as a defensive structure to protect the Kingdom of Mercia from Welsh attacks coming from the west. However, many researchers question its actual military effectiveness. With its relatively modest height compared to other ancient walls, Offa's Dyke seems to have been more symbolic than a true defensive barrier. There is also the theory that King Offa intended the enormous earthwork to show his power and authority over both his subjects and neighboring rivals, mobilizing thousands of workers to create a structure hundreds of kilometers long across the wild medieval countryside was a clear sign of his ambition and influence. In many ways, Offa's Dyke stands as a quiet proclamation, a stamp of sovereignty, carved into the very soil of England. When compared to other monumental works from the same era, Offa's Dyke is often mentioned alongside Hadrian's Wall, the famous Roman fortification in northern England. Yet, while Hadrian's Wall was built from stone and brick, with large military forts, Offa's Dyke is far more humble in appearance, consisting mainly of an earthen ridge and deep ditch. However, in terms of length, Offa's Dyke far surpasses its Roman counterpart, making it one of the largest continuous structures in medieval Europe, and much longer than Hadrian's Wall. Today, many sections of Offa's Dyke still remain, winding through peaceful countryside, offering a fascinating destination for history lovers and anyone wishing to see the traces of the past firsthand. Whatever its original purpose, Offa's Dyke endures as a symbol of strength, creativity, and the lasting mysteries that history has never fully explained. The mysterious geoglyphs of Kazakhstan. Across the vast windswept steppes of Kazakhstan, one of the world's most unusual archaeological mysteries is gradually coming to light thanks to the power of modern satellite technology. From above, scientists have discovered a series of massive geoglyphs, enormous land drawings, each stretching hundreds of meters across the ground. Their designs are remarkably diverse, from circles inside each other and parallel lines to crosses and detailed geometric grids, each one carrying its own sense of mystery, unlike anything found elsewhere in the world. Despite standing out clearly against the barren steppe, these geoglyphs are all but invisible from the ground. Their true scale and shape are only revealed through aerial or satellite images. Some of the most remarkable structures include ancient fortresses and earthen ramparts, so large and carefully built that archaeologists are left in awe at the sheer effort put in by those who built them. What makes these formations even more fascinating is that to this day the geoglyphs of Kazakhstan remain almost entirely unstudied. No historical record mentions these colossal works, and no one can say for sure who built them, for what purpose, or what culture left behind these mysterious marks on the steppe. Some theories suggest they were sites for religious ceremonies, or perhaps ancient solar calendars. But so far, all explanations remain guesses. Thousands of years have passed, and Kazakhstan's giant land drawings still endures silent messages from a distant past that have yet to be decoded. Their existence is both proof of the extraordinary creativity of prehistoric people and a challenge to modern scientists, striving to uncover the origins and true meaning of these enigmas, hidden deep in the heart of the vast Eurasian steppe. The mysterious temple of the Mitani in a land that was once the heart of ancient Mesopotamian civilization. Archaeologists recently made a startling discovery: a palace and temple complex, more than 3,400 years old, belonging to the Mitani Empire, hidden for millennia beneath the deep waters of the Mosul Reservoir. It was only when drought caused the waters to recede that these massive stone walls emerged, opening a doorway through time and letting us glimpse a culture that once thrived and then vanished without a trace. As German and Iraqi archaeologists rushed to dig up the site, they uncovered the remains of an impressive structure built during the golden age of the Mitani. Thick walls, solid foundations, and intricately decorated rooms all point to a place of power, perhaps a royal center, or a sacred space for solemn religious rituals. Most remarkable of all was the discovery of numerous clay tablets, still bearing the wedge-shaped cuneiform writing of scribes who lived thousands of years ago. This cache may prove to be a priceless archive, offering insights into daily life, beliefs, and political relationships within the Mitani Empire. The find also raises questions about the true size of the ancient city, which may once have been a thriving metropolis surrounded by grand buildings, temples, and palaces. Yet, for all its apparent splendor, the Mitani civilization existed for only a brief moment in history before abruptly disappearing at the end of the 14th century BC. To this day, researchers have yet to uncover the full reasons behind its sudden collapse or the fate of the Mitani people. What remains are only a handful of scattered records, ruins deep beneath the earth, and the fading legends passed down through the generations. The mystery of the Mitani Temple has captivated not only archaeologists, but anyone with a passion for history. It is the story of a civilization that quietly slipped out of the light of greatness, leaving behind only the ruins of its sacred spaces in a land that was once the cradle of humanity. And even now, it remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ancient East. The mysterious radio signal from Proxima Centauri. The discovery of a mysterious radio signal coming from Proxima Centauri sent waves of curiosity and hope through the global scientific community. Proxima Centauri is just over 4 light-years away and is known to have at least 2 planets orbiting it, including one rocky planet believed to have conditions similar to those on Earth. In 2019, astronomers using a telescope in Australia unexpectedly detected a strange radio signal, which they named BLC-1. What made this signal remarkable was that its frequency did not match any artificial sources on Earth. It wasn't like the signals from satellites, airplanes, or everyday electronic devices. The research team conducted careful checks and analyses to rule out any possibility that the signal was made by human activity, thoroughly reviewing all potential sources of interference during their observations. The discovery of BLC-1 came as part of the Breakthrough Listen project, an ambitious decades-long initiative aimed at hunting for signs of intelligent life beyond our planet by searching for radio or other artificial signals from space. The team used advanced computer programs to sift through millions of signals, keeping only the rarest and most unusual cases, although it is still impossible to confirm that BLC-1 came from an alien civilization. This finding stands as one of the most intriguing candidates since humans first began searching for life beyond Earth. It has sparked renewed hope that somewhere out in the vastness of space, there may be other intelligent beings gazing toward the stars just as we do. The Breakthrough Listen project continues its efforts observing, analyzing, and decoding mysterious signals, with the hope that one day we may finally find strong evidence of intelligent life beyond our own world. The discovery of 3 million new galaxies in the universe. In humanity's ongoing quest to expand our understanding of the cosmos, scientists in Australia have just achieved a milestone that left the world in awe. In just 2 short weeks, they used one of the world's most advanced radio telescope systems to scan the skies, mapping out 83% of the observable universe from Earth. The results were truly astonishing. Not only did they uncover a handful of new objects, but their work revealed the existence of 3 million previously unrecorded galaxies. This telescope array, with dozens of antennas spread across the remote outback of Western Australia, acts like a giant eye capable of seeing through the dust and gas of distant space. Each antenna works in perfect harmony, capturing the faintest radio signals coming from the darkest corners of the universe. Every image, every bit of data is processed by powerful supercomputers, and then stitched together to form a wide, detailed map of the cosmos. Each tiny dot on this new map represents a galaxy, each one home to billions of stars, and each galaxy possibly containing millions of worlds that no one has ever known. What makes this discovery truly remarkable is not just the sheer number 3 million, but the potential for even greater exploration still to come. Scientists believe that with this technology, as they probe deeper into the hidden reaches of the universe, the number of detected galaxies could grow into the tens of millions. Each newly discovered galaxy holds secrets about the origins, evolution, and destiny of the cosmos, and may even offer clues in the search for alien life. The exploration of the universe never truly ends. And discoveries like this continue to inspire humanity to ask the biggest questions. How vast is the universe? And are we truly just a tiny piece of an endless cosmic tapestry? The further we journey into space, the more we realize that every faint point of light in the night sky hides a marvelous world of its own, just waiting to be discovered. The Stolen Heart of the Saint. In the historic city of Dublin, the story of the heart of St. Lawrence O'Toole continues to send shivers down the spine of anyone who hears it. On a night in March 2012, within the solemn stone walls of Christ Church Cathedral, an unknown intruder secretly hid until darkness fell. As night claimed the sacred space, the thief quietly approached the altar, lighting 2 small candles, as if performing a strange ritual, before daring to steal the more than 800-year-old heart of the city's patron saint, former bishop known for his compassion, who founded many monastic orders and helped bring peace to Ireland during a turbulent era. This sacred relic had been carefully kept in a heart-shaped wooden box, locked within a sturdy iron cage. Yet, the thief's cunning and determination overcame every barrier, leaving behind a chilling emptiness in the cathedral and delivering an unprecedented shock to the Dublin community. The theft of St. Lawrence's heart was not only scandalous for its priceless spiritual value, but also for the mysterious motive behind it. People could only wonder why anyone would risk so much to steal a relic that was impossible to sell and carried only religious and historical meaning. 6 years after the relic vanished, Irish police unexpectedly found the heart intact among the trees in Phoenix Park. Information from the investigation suggested that the thief may have voluntarily returned the relic, not out of regret, but out of fear of a mysterious curse, long rumored to surround the saint's heart. According to the people of Dublin, the sanctity of St. Lawrence's heart is believed to bring terrible consequences to anyone who would dare violate it. Immediately, the heart was carefully restored, secured in a new protective case, and returned to Christ Church Cathedral, where it once again stands as a symbol of faith and the strength of community. Since 2018, this relic has become a place of pilgrimage for countless visitors, not just to admire a historical treasure, but to feel the living legend that still pulses at the heart of the city. Deep-sea sponge species discovered through underwater filming. Deep in the heart of the ocean, scientists have made a remarkable discovery not through traditional fieldwork, but thanks to modern technology. This encounter took place off the coast of Puerto Rico, where a remotely operated vehicle sent back crystal-clear footage of an extraordinary, transparent creature drifting like a delicate drop of sponge suspended in mid-air. After extensive observation and analysis, the creature was given the name Duobrachium sparksii. Unlike most biological discoveries, which require researchers to collect physical specimens for detailed study in the lab, this time all information about the new species was gathered exclusively from moving images captured at a depth of nearly 2 kilometers beneath the ocean's surface. Details about the body structure, unique movements, and the almost otherworldly appearance of Duobrachium sparksii were studied through high-definition video footage. According to experts, this organism floats gently like a tiny hot air balloon, its 2 long tentacles keeping it suspended at a constant height, just above the seafloor, a presence at once fragile and mysterious. The discovery immediately sparked debate within the scientific community. Recognizing an entirely new species based solely on video data, without a physical specimen for verification, is unprecedented. Some scientists argue that as technology advances, this could open up new possibilities for studying life in extreme environments, places where collecting samples is extremely difficult or even impossible. Others remain cautious, concerned that without a specimen in hand, confirming the true identity of a new species lacks absolute certainty. Despite the debate, the discovery of Duobrachium sparksii stands as clear evidence that the ocean still holds countless mysteries waiting to be revealed. With every leap in scientific technology, humanity has a better chance of encountering strange and wondrous creatures that once existed only in our imagination. Every time a camera plunges into the depths, the world opens another new door, reminding us that there is always more wonder to be discovered in the deep. The origins of the modern dog. The origins of the modern dog remain one of the most intriguing mysteries for scientists around the world. Loyal dogs have been with humans for tens of thousands of years, but the journey from wild wolf to faithful companion is far more complex than we once thought. In a recent large-scale study, scientists decoded the genomes of dozens of ancient dog bones from across the continents. The results were surprising. All modern domesticated dogs can trace their ancestry to a group of now extinct wolves, distinctly different from any wild wolves living today. This means the link between dogs and modern wolves is not as clear as we might think, even though the two species look so similar. Remarkably, around 11,000 years ago, dogs were already present in many parts of the world, long before humans had settled down to farm or build permanent communities. Even more striking is that ancient dogs were once much more genetically diverse than the dogs we know today. Over time, as dogs became ever closer companions to humans, that diversity steadily narrowed, due in part to changes in environment, human migration, and natural selection. Still, the change from wolf to dog leaves many questions unanswered. How did humans ever manage to tame such a fierce wild predator and turn it into humanity's most loyal friend? Why did dogs spread across the planet even faster than the first migrating human communities? And why, after so many millennia, even with occasional interbreeding, do modern dogs no longer carry traces of wolf DNA? Nevertheless, the latest discoveries about ancient dog DNA have begun to unlock the opening chapters in the remarkable story of the bond between humans and these extraordinary animals. The quest to discover the true origins of our four-legged friend continues, promising even greater surprises in the future and offering deeper insight into both cultural history and the evolution of humanity itself. Whale strandings and the mystery of navigational disruption. In the vast world of the oceans, gray whales are tireless travelers, journeying thousands of miles across icy seas. Yet time and again, coastlines have seen heartbreaking scenes: entire groups of whales stranded helplessly on beaches, powerless against the forces of nature. This problem has long troubled scientists, who continue to search for answers. A recent study has revealed a surprising link between the number of gray whale strandings and the activity of sunspots, those dark patches that appear on the surface of the sun during periods of intense solar storms. Data shows that whenever the number of sunspots spikes, so does the risk of whales losing their way and washing ashore. This finding has fueled the theory that solar storms and major shifts in the sun's magnetic field can interfere with the whale's natural navigation systems. Although this may not be the only cause, the theory that Earth's magnetic field affects whales is gaining support, backed by growing evidence from observations and experiments in various regions. Experts believe that whales have an extraordinary sensitivity to magnetic fields, relying on this sense to guide them across huge distances during their long migrations. When solar storms disturb the Earth's magnetic field, whales may lose their bearings, leading to the tragic mass strandings we see on beaches around the world. Other ideas have been proposed, including underwater noise pollution, climate change, and shifts in food sources. Still, the explanation involving the influence of the sun and Earth's magnetic fields remains the most convincing, opening up promising new avenues of research. It is a crucial step toward protecting these gentle giants of the sea from the heartbreaking fate of mass stranding. Jaguar hunts ocelot. Deep within the ancient forests of Guatemala, where towering trees blanket the ground and life unfolds in quiet silence, scientists captured an extraordinary and rare event: the moment a jaguar attacked and hunted an ocelot, a much smaller wild cat. This is an extremely rare occurrence in the natural world, as large felines, even when sharing the same habitat, seldom confront one another directly, especially as predator and prey. This remarkable scene was recorded using hidden cameras placed in the Maya Biosphere Reserve. In the footage, the ocelot is seen crouching by the water's edge, searching for food, when suddenly, from the shadows, a jaguar appears. With stealth and precision, the jaguar silently closes in and launches a swift attack. In the blink of an eye, the powerful predator drags the ocelot away from the water's edge, leaving behind the haunting stillness that always lingers in the ancient forest. According to experts, this event is far more than a simple battle for survival. It also reflects the harsh and changing conditions of the natural environment. During long droughts, water becomes scarce, forcing animals to gather at the few remaining waterholes. In such moments, the boundaries between species, even among predators of the same family, begin to blur. A jaguar hunting an ocelot may be the result of fierce competition when resources are running low, causing animals that once were only indirect rivals to become direct threats to one another. Researchers also noted that at this same watering point, it wasn't just the fight between jaguar and ocelot that was observed. Other jaguars appeared repeatedly, and fierce conflicts even broke out between individuals of the same species. All of this shows that when the environment shifts and resources are threatened, the established rules of the natural world can be upended. This rare glimpse of a jaguar preying on an ocelot offers scientists not only deeper insight into wild animal behavior, but also serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of ecological balance, where even the smallest disruption can trigger a cascade of unpredictable consequences in a natural world already full of mystery and hardship. The Golden Eagle sculpture of the Aztec people. When archaeologists began digging deep beneath the ground of Mexico City, the legendary heart of the Aztec Empire, they never expected to uncover a golden eagle relief that had lain undisturbed for 600 years among the sacred ruins of the Templo Mayor. This discovery was not merely a historical artifact, it was an enduring symbol of power, warfare, and unshakable faith in the gods, a glimpse into the soul of a civilization that once shone with brilliance. The image of the golden eagle, wings spread wide with piercing eyes capable of seeing through every enemy, stands not only as a masterpiece of art, but as the very spirit of the Aztec people. To them, the eagle was the messenger of the sun god, the supreme emblem for the elite warrior class, for the emperors, and for the noble bloodlines that lifted the Aztec Empire to its greatest heights. This figure was woven into the most sacred of rituals, where kings and warriors would offer blood and life itself in the hope of peace for their land, asserting their place before both the gods and their people. The emergence of this golden eagle relief in the heart of the ancient city reveals not only the Aztecs' advanced artistry and skill in sculpture, but reminds us of a world where symbolism and power were inseparable. The eagle was not merely a legend. It was the breath, the heart, and the unyielding will of a nation that stood firm amid the violent storms of history. In every carved line, one can feel the pride and undying longing, and the reverence for the sun, the source of life, and the ultimate force that ruled the Aztec universe. Today, as we look upon this golden eagle relief, it is as though we step back in time, brushing against the ancient legends, feeling the pulse of a civilization that once commanded the respect of the world with its might, its mysteries, and its unbreakable spirit in the face of destiny. The Roman shipwreck filled with wine. Beneath the deep waters off the coast of Sicily, archaeologists have discovered the wreck of an ancient Roman ship that still keeps its remarkable cargo hold hundreds of large ceramic jars that once brimmed with wine. This discovery not only brings back the image of Roman voyages across stormy seas, but also opens a window into the busy world of Mediterranean trade more than 2,000 years ago. The ship, dating back to the 2nd century BC, was found at a depth of over 90 meters, resting in the very position it took when it sank after an accident whose cause remains unknown. Most of its cargo consisted of amphorae, large two-handled clay vessels that served as the bottles of the Roman era, used to store wine, olive oil, and precious foods. The sheer number of wine jars suggests this was once a major shipment, likely meant for lavish banquets among the Roman elite, or for trade with other cultures around the Mediterranean. This discovery has given scientists valuable insight into the routes used to transport goods between Rome and far-off lands, such as North Africa, Spain, France, and even the Middle East. Layer by layer, as they peeled away the sediment that had settled over the wreck, researchers also uncovered kitchen tools, personal items, and tiny pieces of jewelry. Each artifact helps to bring daily life aboard the ship back to light, offering a glimpse into the roles of sailors and merchants as they braved dangerous journeys across the sea. Many of the amphorae still bear traces of Roman wine, providing crucial clues for researchers to carry out chemical analyses that can trace the origins of the grapes and the ancient methods of winemaking. Thanks to these discoveries, the picture of trade and cooking in the ancient Mediterranean is becoming clearer than ever before. Far more than an archaeological relic, the Roman shipwreck filled with wine off the coast of Sicily is a powerful reminder of the vast connections between civilizations and the tireless spirit of adventure that drove people to conquer the seas in ages past. Salem and the Hammer of Witches. European history once saw a book that struck fear into the hearts of the world, Malleus Maleficarum, also known as the Hammer of Witches. Far more than a mere collection of curses, this book was written as a complete manual for anyone who sought to hunt, accuse, question, and punish those suspected of witchcraft. Originating in 15th century Europe, the Malleus Maleficarum spread at a staggering pace. Wherever it appeared, the atmosphere became suffocating. Fear took hold, and the threat of witch hunts became only a matter of time. Printed pages, which should have brought knowledge and enlightenment, instead spread darkness and death. Behind every line lurked a dreadful obsession that weighed heavily on the lives of millions of ordinary people, especially women, who could easily become victims for the slightest difference or a careless rumor. Modern research has revealed a chilling coincidence. The closer one lived to where the Hammer of Witches was published, the greater the number of witch hunts that took place. This wave of panic swept from the villages of Europe across to the New World in America, spanning centuries, with its most notorious episode unfolding in Salem, Massachusetts. In 1692, Salem was no longer a peaceful town. In the course of a single summer, hundreds were accused of having ties to witchcraft, many of them forced to confess under immense pressure and torture. 19 innocent people were ultimately hanged, and the horror of that time still lingers in America's memory. Young girls and ordinary women suddenly found themselves caught up as victims in a frenzy of group hysteria, rooted in a dangerous idea planted by that infamous book. The presence of the Malleus Maleficarum is not just a stain on the history of justice, but a profound lesson in the power of information over society. A single book, a single idea, can change the course of an entire era, and sometimes the cost is countless innocent lives. Behind the flames of the pyre, behind the nooses in Salem, the cries of forgotten souls still echo, reminding humanity of the dark side of fear and blind faith. The world's oldest brewery in Egypt, amid the blazing golden dunes of the Egyptian desert, in a land once at the spiritual heart of pharaonic rituals, Archaeologists have uncovered one of the most astonishing mysteries of ancient culture, the oldest known brewery in the world, at the Abydos necropolis. More than just a production site, this ancient brewery stands as a vivid example of the extraordinary advancement of Egyptian technique and spiritual life over 5,000 years ago. According to experts, this brewery dates back to the earliest dynastic period of Egypt, around 3150 BCE. At that time, the kingdom had just been united under the legendary King Narmer, ushering in a new and brilliant era in human history. At Abydos, a place revered as the cradle of religious rituals and the eternal resting ground of pharaohs. This massive brewery was built with a scale and organization that continue to amaze today. The complex consisted of 8 enormous vats, each up to 20 meters long, deep, and spacious, arranged in 2 parallel rows. Each vat held dozens of large ceramic basins, used to boil a mixture of barley and water, which was then fermented into beer, essential drink for royal ceremonies. The ancient Egyptians believed that beer was a sacred bridge between humanity and the gods, used both as an offering in solemn rites, and to grace the lavish royal feasts held in the grand tombs. With a production capacity of over 22,000 liters per batch, the Abydos brewery was not only able to meet the demands of the royal court, but also proved the Egyptians' early mastery of large-scale labor organization and management. Researchers believe the brewery was built for a single purpose: to serve royal ceremonies, reinforcing Abydos's central role in the religious and social life of ancient Egypt. Today, while the shifting sands still slowly cover the ruins of the past, the remains of the world's oldest brewery quietly tell the story of faith, power, and limitless creativity among the ancient Egyptians. It was not just the birthplace of the world's first beer, but a living monument to a civilization that once reached dazzling heights, leaving an indelible mark on the flow of human history. The naval battle of Rome and Carthage. More than 2,000 years ago, amid the deep blue waters of the Mediterranean, near the island of Sicily, a fierce naval battle took place, one that marked a decisive turning point in ancient history. This was the final clash between 2 great powers, Rome and Carthage, bitter enemies who vied for supremacy in the ancient world. For centuries, this battle lived only in the pages of history and in stories passed down through generations, until archaeologists began their quest to uncover the secrets still hidden beneath the sea. Over decades of research, archaeologists have uncovered countless well-preserved artifacts from this legendary conflict. Buried beneath layers of sand and seabed mud were bronze helmets, fragments of broken ceramic jars, rusted pieces of armor, and most notably, intricately carved bronze rams from warships. Each artifact recovered tells a piece of the story of the battle's brutality. Helmets bear the scars of violent blows, pieces of armor are twisted and blackened by fire and waves, and the bronze rams remain razor-sharp, a chilling reminder of the destruction caused by these naval fights. What has especially captured the attention of historians is the discovery of numerous bronze rams bearing Roman markings. These relics reveal that in their desperation, the Carthaginians used captured Roman warships to fight back against their enemies. The bronze rams were not only weapons of destruction, but symbols of close quarters, naval tactics where 2 ships would collide at high speed, the bronze prow piercing the enemy's hull, and creating scenes of chaos and carnage amid the raging sea. Beyond weapons and armor, archaeologists have also found shards of pottery, water jugs, and cooking pots, once used by the soldiers, offering a vivid picture of daily life in the midst of battle. But above all, these artifacts highlight the catastrophic fate that befell Carthage. The battle took place in 241 BC, when the Carthaginian fleet tried to cross the sea to bring supplies to their besieged forces in Sicily. At the critical moment, the Roman fleet appeared, blocking every escape route and destroying nearly the entire Carthaginian navy. The remains left on the ocean floor are living proof of a fight from which Carthage could not escape, and from that moment, the fate of their mighty empire was sealed. Today, with every new artifact raised from the depths, archaeologists gain another piece in the puzzle of this unfinished history, rebuilding the grand and tragic scene of a bygone era. The naval battle between Rome and Carthage was not only the end of an age of Mediterranean rivalry, but it also stands as a lasting reminder of the destructive power of war and the unyielding will of those who helped shape the course of human history. Emperor Hadrian's breakfast room, nestled among lush gardens and crystal-clear reflecting pools in the Italian countryside of Tivoli. The Villa Adriana was once a retreat for Emperor Hadrian, one of the most powerful and refined rulers of the Roman Empire. More than just a symbol of wealth, this sprawling 200-acre complex is considered a masterpiece of ancient architecture, a place that saw lavish banquets and countless untold stories. One of its most remarkable spaces is the breakfast room, set on top of a gleaming white marble floor and curving elegantly beside a man-made lake. Each morning, beneath the gentle rays of the sun, Hadrian and Empress Vibia, Sabina, would take breakfast with the most distinguished guests of the empire, surrounded by the soft sound of trickling water and the cool, refreshing atmosphere reserved for the elite. The unique charm of this room lies not only in its precious materials, but also in its harmonious blend of comfort and artistic design. From the marble floor, charming little bridges connected the breakfast room to separate quarters such as bedrooms, baths, and reception areas, creating a private world that was still open to nature. The drawbridges were designed to guarantee absolute privacy, separating the emperor from crowds of servants and preserving a sense of calm for each morning meal, yet they could be changed at a moment's notice to welcome honored guests. Encircling the room were gentle streams, walls adorned with precious stones, carved reliefs and detailed fountains, leaving every visitor in awe of the classic grandeur intertwined with the natural world. More than just a place for breakfast, this space served as a setting for secret meetings, private receptions, and quiet conversation among the empire's most powerful figures. Today, the remains of that luxurious breakfast room have become an irreplaceable part of Roman heritage, a vivid reminder of a golden age when this villa stood at the very heart of power, artistry, and the never-ending dreams of an empire built to endure. The abandoned Leningradskaya base in Antarctica. Amid the frozen white expanse of Antarctica, where biting winds and endless gray skies seem to stretch on forever, silent traces remain of a brilliant era that now belongs to the past. Standing out in this desolate landscape is the Leningradskaya base, a powerful symbol of the Soviet Union's scientific ambition and strength at the height of the Cold War. Leningradskaya was built in 1971 on top of a high rocky outcrop in Victoria Land, a place battered by relentless winds and covered in snow year-round. From its earliest days, the base became a hub for geological, meteorological, oceanographic, and geomagnetic research, playing a key role in the large-scale scientific projects that the Soviet Union invested in at the farthest southern reaches of the Earth. To keep the base running in such extreme conditions, icebreaker ships and supply teams had to brave fierce weather, battling blizzards that lasted for days, and cold so severe it threatened the safety of anyone who ventured outside. Though it played a critical role in many discoveries about Antarctica's climate and geological structure, Leningradskaya also stands as proof of the high price of conquering nature. The long winters and huge operational costs became a heavy burden after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. From that point, the buildings, laboratories, and what was once cutting-edge equipment were left behind, surrendered to time and weather that slowly erased all traces of human life. Today, Leningradskaya still stands tall amid the frozen desert, a silent monument to a glorious past. Rows of buildings covered in snow, windows tightly shut, machine rooms coated in a blanket of white dust all create a scene that is both sad and strangely captivating, evoking memories of an era when science, ideals, and the dreams of pushing beyond human limits burned together with passion. There have been plans to revive the base, but so far these remain only intentions, leaving Leningradskaya to sleep in the cold, wind-swept silence, an unsolved mystery at the very edge of the world. The secret tunnel of the Knights Templar, hidden deep beneath the city of Acre in Israel, lies a story that can stir the heart of anyone with a love for history. In 1994, as a family was struggling to repair a broken water pipe beneath their home, they unwittingly uncovered a secret that had been buried for centuries. With the first strikes of the shovel breaking through the hardened earth, a dark, chilly passageway emerged, opening the door to a glorious chapter of the medieval past. This was the secret tunnel of the Knights Templar, legendary order whose name is wrapped in tales of loyalty, strength, and treasures no one can say for sure ever existed. The tunnel connects the Templars' stronghold to the ancient port, serving as a hidden route for retreat or for moving their most precious possessions. No one knows exactly how many stories have been woven around this passageway, but stepping into its darkness, anyone can sense the suspense and curiosity lurking in every corner of history. Acre was once one of the most important cities of the Crusades, a crossroads of cultures, and the final destination for journeys marked by hardship and hope. When the Knights Templar lost control of Jerusalem, they chose Acre as their new headquarters, pouring all their efforts into fortifying and defending the city. The secret tunnel stands as living proof of their careful preparation, their courage, and the unnamed fears they faced as the future grew ever more uncertain. But what makes this tunnel truly remarkable is not just its architecture or military function. For centuries, Legends have persisted about the sacred treasures once hidden by the Knights Templar, the Holy Grail, the symbol of miracles and salvation, the true cross, the revered relic of Christian faith, or even the Ark of the Covenant, the legendary chest said to hold supreme power. No one can say for sure whether these treasures ever graced these chambers, or if they were only the stuff of myth. Yet, it is precisely this mystery that keeps Acre among the most enticing destinations for treasure hunters and modern-day explorers alike. Today, the Templar Tunnel has been dug out, fitted with lights, and open to visitors. But as you descend the steps into the earth, it is easy to imagine the hurried footsteps of knights long ago too. Picture armored warriors shielding sacred treasures from all who would threaten them. Perhaps the treasures never existed, or perhaps they still lie hidden somewhere, waiting to be found. But it is the enduring mystery of this place that has turned the tunnel beneath Acre into an immortal symbol of courage, faith, and the longing to protect what is sacred. No matter how much time may pass, the sword of Ivan the Terrible, deep in the frozen forest of Siberia in 1975, Russian archaeologists made a discovery that sent shockwaves through their field. That year, a medieval sword was unearthed beneath the roots of an ancient tree, cloaked in moss and earth, hinting at legendary tales from a turbulent era in Russia's history. What made this artifact truly remarkable was the possibility that it once belonged to Ivan the Terrible, the most famous, and by many accounts, most ruthless Tsar of Russia's past. This sword was far more than a weapon. It stood as a symbol of power and the sweep of history across this land. According to experts, the sword originated in Europe and was most likely forged in Germany at the end of the 12th century. Over the centuries, it traveled to Sweden, where its handle was elegantly wrapped in silver and inscribed with ancient runes, bearing the marks of cultures that intersected over hundreds of years. Along the blade, a shortened Latin inscription asks for the protection of God and the Virgin Mary for its owner. But perhaps the greatest mystery is how this sword came to rest in remote Siberia, wild frontier that once marked the eastern edge of the Russian Empire. Historians believe that in the 16th century, as Ivan the Terrible began his campaigns of eastern expansion, the sword may have been given as a royal gift or carried as a prized trophy in the fierce battles between Russian Cossacks and the local Tatar forces. Folklore even links it to the legendary warrior Ivan Koltso, who was said to have fallen in battle near the spot where the sword was eventually found. Through the centuries, the sword remained buried in the deep woods, miraculously preserved by the soil, its blade and handle almost untouched by time. For archaeologists, the feeling of holding this artifact for the first time was like grasping a piece of the medieval soul itself, echoing with the memory of warriors and legend. Beyond its physical value, the sword reveals a story of trade routes, movement, and conflict between Europe and Russia's Far East during one of history's most turbulent times. Today, the sword is considered a national treasure, not just for its artistic and historical worth, but for the mysterious story it carries, a symbol of war, the relentless drive for conquest, and the tragedies of Ivan the Terrible's age, when the fate of a nation and its people was swept up in the unyielding tide of power. The ancient gunstock of Minnesota. Amid the dense forests and sprawling lakes of Minnesota, there lies an artifact that was forgotten for centuries before being rediscovered on the shore of Lower Hay Lake. It is the weathered stock of an old gun stained by time, with a sinuous serpent intricately carved along its length, a rare motif in this region. When experts examined the artifact, it immediately drew attention, not only for its age, but for the rich history hidden beneath its surface. Through careful analysis, historians determined that this type of gun was once common in Europe many centuries ago. Even more surprising, the wood used for the gunstock is birch, an essential material primarily used in regions such as Denmark, Germany, and Sweden. After years of research, scholar Ray Nelson traced the true origin of the weapon. It was crafted in the Oldenburg region of Germany, then crossed the Atlantic with some of the first immigrants to the New World in the 18th century. Yet the gun's journey did not end there. After arriving in America, it became an object of trade between Europeans and the Native American tribes, vivid example of the vibrant exchange of culture and commerce during the colonial era. At that time, items like guns, knives, and European metalwork were regarded as highly valuable by the local tribes, who would exchange them for furs, food, or even brief alliances between two vastly different worlds. Over the course of shifting history, the old gun was eventually left behind on the lonely riverbank, only to be rediscovered by chance nearly 3 centuries later. Today, it is kept and displayed in a local museum as a rare witness to the era of cultural blending between waves of European immigrants and the native communities who once lived along Minnesota's rivers and forests. Every carved detail on its stock, every mark left by time, stands as a silent storyteller from a turbulent age when the destinies of settlers and native peoples intertwined in daring exchanges and hopeful alliances across the wilds of early America. Coffins and spellbooks of Egypt at Saqqara. In Saqqara, the sacred land that lies just outside Egypt's capital of Cairo. Every stroke of the archaeologist's spade stirs up new mysteries about ancient Egyptian civilization. Most recently, as the desert sunlight shimmered across the stones, experts uncovered one of the greatest archaeological treasures ever found. Here over 50 perfectly preserved wooden coffins, buried deep beneath the earth, alongside a temple dedicated to a powerful queen, and the mystical texts of the famous Book of the Dead. The underground scene emerges like a vivid tapestry from the past. Each coffin, weathered by the centuries yet exquisitely detailed, protects within it the remains of nobles and priests who lived more than 3,000 years ago. Nearby, the temple of Queen Neret stands in silent testimony to the powerful women who once shaped the destiny of the royal court. Most remarkable of all is the long papyrus scroll containing the prayers and spells of the Book of the Dead, the ancient text that was believed to guide the souls of the dead through countless dangers on their journey to the afterlife. Every artifact unearthed here not only adds another piece to the puzzle of Egypt's New Kingdom history, but also sheds light on the rich and complex belief system of the ancient world. Through the hieroglyphs carved on the wooden coffins and the detailed illustrations in the spellbooks, we can almost reach out and touch the ancient obsession with death, the longing for eternal life, and the desperate search for the protection of the highest gods. These discoveries reveal not only how the ancient Egyptians prepared for the world beyond, but also reflect a society deeply rooted in religion, a world where every individual, no matter their rank, was guided by faith in the unseen mysteries beyond the mortal realm. Thanks to the new doorways opened at Saqqara, we are able to glimpse the imagination, the reverence, and the dream of immortality that defined one of humanity's most dazzling civilizations. The living candles. Ancient Roman history once witnessed one of the most shocking and blood-soaked tales of the cruelty of power. In the year 64 AD, the city of Rome was suddenly consumed by a raging blaze that swept through the city like a violent storm, destroying much of it over the course of 9 relentless days and nights. Helpless citizens could only watch as everything they knew collapsed, while historians of the era, such as Tacitus, recounted how Emperor Nero stood calmly on his balcony, observing the sea of flames, even as the people below fell into chaos and panic. When the smoke finally cleared, Nero was left not only with a city in ruins, but also with the fury of thousands who had lost their homes. In order to escape the mounting public pressure, the emperor chose to shift all the blame onto a new and rapidly growing religious group of the time, the Christians. He accused them of causing the disaster, then turned their persecution into a nightmarish obsession that haunted the entire empire. What happened next became one of the darkest chapters in human history. According to legend and the accounts of ancient historians, Nero ordered mass arrests of Christian believers and used them to light his lavish evening banquets in the royal gardens. It is said that the victims were coated in oil and hung upon stakes, their bodies set ablaze, so that burning fiercely against the night, they became living candles, lighting up the gardens of a tyrant. The horror of those nights left such a mark that generations later, a famous firework was named the Roman Candler, sad reminder of those grim days. Yet even now, historians continue to debate how much truth lies in these stories. Some believe that much of what has been passed down is an exaggeration fueled by political rivals, or made more dramatic by writers eager to show Nero as the embodiment of evil. Still, many others maintain that behind those words is a brutal reality that history once sought to hide. Whatever the truth may be, the legend of Nero's living candles endures in humanity's collective memory, a symbol of tyrannical power and a lesson in the savagery that human beings are capable of inflicting upon one another in the name of fear and hatred. The northern Pompeii, beneath London, beneath the busy streets and dazzling lights of modern London, another city has lain quietly for millennia. This truth only began to emerge when the Crossrail Railway project started drilling deep into the ground, opening up spectacular moments in British archaeology never seen before. With every dig of the excavator, each ancient layer of earth turned over new pages of history, from the days of ancient Rome to the final years of the Victorian era. It was not just isolated artifacts that were uncovered, but an entire northern Pompeii, complete with houses, streets, cemeteries, and vivid evidence of every aspect of past life. The discoveries span across many eras, from gold coins, wooden pencils, and leather shoes, to inscribed stone tablets, and the everyday objects of Roman settlers. medieval townsfolk, Tudor merchants, and even layers of graveyards that were once the final resting place for those cast out by society. Contracts, banquet invitations, and even a shopping list from a housewife centuries ago have been found, small stories, yet full of meaning, helping to recreate a vibrant, complex, and many-sided London of the past. The variety of sites and artifacts has painted an unbroken historical picture of London, a place where layers of culture, religion, and society have intertwined and changed over the ages. A London that was once a Roman outpost, then a busy medieval city, and later the economic and cultural heart of the British Empire. All these eras are present, woven into every brick, every bone fragment, every tombstone, and every urn uncovered beneath the foundations of the modern city. What is remarkable is that each layer of earth, every discovery holds mysteries yet to be solved. From the ruins of houses never recorded in any document, to strange artifacts that hint at the city's upheavals, its lives, beliefs, and even the plagues that swept through this place. This northern Pompeii has not only deepened our understanding of London's past, but also shown the lasting vitality of the city itself, a place where, no matter how much time passes, every memory and every story is carefully kept, waiting for the day they return to the light of the present. The sunken city of Heracleion in Egypt. Heracleion was once a magnificent city, lying on the shores of the Mediterranean, serving as Egypt's gateway to the outside world. During its golden age, it was a vibrant center of religion, commerce, and politics, with busy harbors, splendid temples, and huge statues of gods standing watch over the mouth of the Nile. But tragedy struck in the 2nd century BC, when a violent earthquake, followed by a phenomenon known as soil liquefaction, caused the entire city and its grand structures to sink deep beneath the sea. For centuries, Heracleion survived only in the writings of Greek historians and in local legend, slowly becoming a mythical city that many believed had never truly existed. It was not until the late 20th century that underwater archaeologists finally found clear proof of the city's existence. Most striking among the discoveries was a large stone, steelly inscribed with ancient Egyptian script, confirming the city's true name of Thonis Heracleion, along with a number of enormous stone statues, including one of the Nile god Hapi, standing nearly 6 meters tall and appearing both majestic and solemn beneath the deep blue water. Artifacts recovered from the site, including statues, stone columns, jewelry, coins, and even the remains of ancient ships, have revealed vivid glimpses into a city that was once wealthy and thriving. The existence of Heracleion is no longer a mystery, but a reality confirmed by archaeological discovery, bearing witness to a glorious chapter of ancient Egyptian history that lay buried under the seabed for over 2,000 years. And even now, the remains scattered across the floor of Abu Qir Bay continue to inspire new searches and add to the legend of the most mysterious sunken city in the Mediterranean. Human-sized penguins in Antarctica and New Zealand. Today, Antarctica and New Zealand are lands defined by ice, biting winds, and the quiet movements of small penguin colonies across the frozen landscape. But tens of millions of years ago, these places looked entirely different. Thanks to fossils unearthed on Seymour Island, off the coast of Antarctica, and along the shores of New Zealand, scientists have discovered the remains of a giant penguin species, standing up to 2 meters tall and weighing as much as 115 kilograms, even larger than an adult human. These prehistoric penguins were not only remarkable in size, but also had a striking appearance, with sturdy skeletons and wings perfectly suited for diving and swimming in the ocean's depths. These giants could stay underwater for many minutes at a time in the freezing sea, giving them an incredible advantage over modern penguin species. Fossil evidence shows that tens of millions of years ago, Antarctica and New Zealand enjoyed a much warmer and milder climate than today. Back then, long beaches lined with lush forests and oceans teeming with life provided the ideal environment for seabirds to grow to such enormous sizes. The discovery of human-sized penguin fossils has opened a new chapter in our understanding of prehistoric biodiversity and has given scientists valuable insight into the process of climate change and the shifting environments on Earth. Hidden within layers of ancient stone, these fossilized bones are a moving reminder of a world once vibrant and abundant, a world where extraordinary creatures lived in harmony with nature before dramatic changes sent them into history. The existence of these giants in a once temperate land stands as vivid proof that the climate and ecosystems of our planet have always been in flux, continually producing marvels that continue to amaze humanity as we uncover them. The discovery of a pharaoh Ramses II statue in Cairo, in the heart of busy Cairo, an unexpected discovery stunned both the archaeological community and the people of Egypt. In 2012, During an excavation in a crowded neighborhood, Egyptian archaeologists working alongside German experts uncovered the remains of a huge statue believed to depict Pharaoh Ramses II, the legendary king who ruled Egypt for more than 66 years and left an indelible mark on human history. Ramses II was not only a symbol of power, but is also celebrated as the greatest builder and conqueror among the pharaohs of the Nile civilization. Under his rule, Egypt expanded its territory as far as Syria and Sudan, and he skillfully kept up diplomatic relations with neighboring empires, preserving peace in the region for decades. Huge achievements, such as the Abu Simbel Temple complex, the Ramesseum, and the towering statues at Luxor, all bear the unmistakable mark of his reign. The statue was discovered deep beneath layers of earth and concrete hidden among the crowded streets of what was once a vital religious center of ancient Egypt. Heliopolis was long regarded as the city of the sun god Ra, a place where pharaohs built grand structures to show their power and their connection to the divine. According to archaeologists, this statue stands nearly 9 meters tall, carved from rose quartzite, and much of its intricate carving remains remarkably preserved, despite having been buried by time and city development for thousands of years. What surprised experts most was that such an important artifact had remained directly beneath the feet of modern buildings and busy streets, completely unnoticed. The appearance of the Ramses II statue serves as a vivid reminder of the magnificent layers of history still hidden beneath the busy cities of present-day Egypt. This discovery not only enriches the nation's cultural heritage, but also raises hopes that similar treasures may still be waiting to be found. Beneath the familiar sands remnants of what was once the most dazzling civilization in ancient Africa. After its excavation, the statue of Ramses II has become a new symbol of national pride, reminding today's generation of the glorious royal era that once thrived on the timeless land of Egypt. The ancient golden airplanes of the Quimbaya. In the heart of Colombia, a series of unusual golden artifacts were discovered, crafted half a millennium ago by the once thriving Quimbaya civilization. What makes these objects so remarkable is not only their beautiful metalwork, but also their mysterious shapes, small models, just a few centimeters long, yet featuring wings, slender bodies, and aerodynamic lines so precise that at first glance they looked strikingly like modern airplane models. Archaeologists initially believed these were simply artistic representations of animals, perhaps fish or tropical insects. However, upon closer examination, many noticed features, such as vertical tails, horizontal wings, and pointed noses that bear no resemblance to any natural creature, but rather echo the design of today's aircraft. This sparked a multitude of theories. Some suggest the Quimbaya possessed knowledge far beyond their time, possibly having observed or imagined flying objects that did not belong to this world. Others have proposed that these models might be proof of alien visits or an advanced technology, having reached distant South America hundreds or even thousands of years ago. While these theories remain controversial and unresolved, the Quimbaya's golden airplanes continue to captivate generations, fueling curiosity about the imagination and true knowledge of an ancient civilization that thrived amid Colombia's rugged jungles. They serve as a reminder that human history still holds unwritten chapters, and sometimes the smallest artifacts hide the grandest stories of our distant past. The 20th century archaeological forgeries. The 20th century was not only a time of great archaeological discoveries, but also saw scandals that shocked the academic world, none more notable than the case of a series of forged artifacts that rocked Spain. The story began when a group of archaeologists announced the discovery of an extensive collection of Roman artifacts, including pottery fragments inscribed with Egyptian hieroglyphs, images supposedly showing the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and even ancient inscriptions in Basque. All these items were unearthed at the Aruna Velea archaeological site. At first, the discovery was hailed as a breakthrough, offering hope to shed light on shadowy chapters of Iberian history. The media swarmed with reports, and the scholarly community awaited further detailed analysis with bated breath. However, the deeper the investigation went, the more experts found glaring inconsistencies. The handwriting appeared far too modern. The languages used did not match the supposed era, and some symbols simply could not have existed in Roman times. Suspicion grew strongest when several artifacts bore the name of Queen Nefertiti, Egyptian figure unrelated to the region, and only discovered centuries later. Under pressure from the international scientific community, an independent panel was set up to examine all the artifacts. The final verdict was staggering. Over 400 items were identified as either forgeries or tampered with by modern hands. The archaeologists who had initially been celebrated were suddenly disgraced, stripped of their titles, and faced trial on charges of fraud, damaging the reputation of Spanish archaeology deeply. This scandal became a bitter lesson, a stark warning that the passion for discovery must always be paired with honesty and careful checking. It also serves as a reminder that in a world full of unsolved mysteries, sometimes the greatest deceptions are those made by humans themselves, leaving an indelible stain on the history of humanity's quest to understand its past. New clues about extraterrestrial life. For centuries, the question of life beyond Earth has haunted humanity's imagination. Many once believed that if any distant world existed out there in the universe, it would be so cold and barren that no living thing could survive. Yet recent discoveries on Mars are challenging that idea, sparking a new hope that we may not be alone in the vast cosmos. The current focus is Acidalia planitia, a vast plain located in the northern hemisphere of the Red Planet. This terrain has drawn scientists' attention due to unique signs involving temperature, water, and energy, three essential ingredients for life to thrive. Beneath its cold layers of rock and soil, researchers believe conditions may be just right for methanogens, extremophile bacteria that don't need oxygen but instead rely on chemical energy from their source. Methanogens are masters of survival in Earth's harshest places. They live inside volcanoes, in the deepest ocean trenches, and even within the guts of large animals. On Mars, they could live beneath the surface, protected from ultraviolet radiation and extreme climate shifts. If these tiny organisms truly are quietly thriving beneath the red soil of Acidalia planitia, it would mark the greatest breakthrough in humanity's history of space exploration. But life may not be limited to single-celled beings. The discovery of methanogens on Mars opens the door to a far more profound question: might there have been more complex life forms at some ancient era on the Red Planet, or even a civilization of its own? Another intriguing idea suggests that humanity's distant ancestors once lived on Mars and fled as the planet slowly grew dry and empty. Scientists today are not only excited by the prospect of finding bacteria, but are eager to probe deeper into Mars's crust, where its greatest secrets remain buried. Achieving this will require advanced drilling and exploration technologies that do not yet exist. Yet the belief remains strong that one day samples brought back from Acidalia planitia could hold the answer to the universe's greatest mystery. Is life widespread throughout the cosmos? Or is Earth's biosphere a unique privilege? If the answer is yes, and if something still quietly grows beneath Mars's frozen surface, then everything we know about the origin of life and human history will need to be rewritten. And the dream of exploring new worlds, of finding extraterrestrial siblings, if only microscopic, has never felt closer to reality than it does now. The Lady of Baza, in Spain. In 1971, a remarkable discovery forever changed the world's understanding of pre-Roman Iberia. During excavations near the city of Baza, archaeologists unearthed a grand and exquisitely carved stone statue. The figure depicts a noble woman seated on a throne, her body draped in elaborate clothing and adorned with fancy jewelry, every detail radiating power and elegance. What made this find even more astonishing was the discovery of human ashes inside the statue, revealing that it was not only a masterpiece of art, but also served as a funerary urn, an integral part of ancient Iberian burial rituals. More than its regal form, the Lady of Baza is striking for the vivid colors that still linger on its stone surface after thousands of years. Traces of the original paint have allowed experts to rebuild the statue's once bright palette, proving that these ancient craftsmen were not only skilled in sculpture, but also masters of decorative painting. Beyond looks, the detailed patterns and designs on her dress, throne, and accessories speak to a deep blending of cultures: Greek, Phoenician, and Carthaginian influences, clearly visible in every line. This is entirely consistent with the history of the region, as Iberia was for centuries a crossroads shaped by Mediterranean trade and cultural exchange. The presence of ashes within the statue, along with valuable grave goods placed around it, has given scholars new insight into ancient Iberian society and burial practices. It is clear this woman belonged to the upper levels of society, buried with objects of great worth, a testament to both the deep spiritual beliefs about the afterlife and the honored role of women in that era. The Lady of Baza is not only a sculptural masterpiece, but a vivid and lasting witness to a civilization that once thrived, leaving an indelible mark on the formation of modern Europe. Methane leaks beneath the Antarctic Sea. Beneath the thick, icy layers of Antarctica, the Ross region was once thought to be a place where time itself stood still for millennia. Yet, in 2011, scientists made a startling discovery: a silent but potentially dangerous phenomenon. Methane gas was continuously leaking from the seafloor, rising through the permafrost and spilling into the surrounding environment. Methane, a greenhouse gas, far more potent at trapping heat than carbon dioxide, means that each molecule escaping into the atmosphere speeds up the warming of our planet beyond what most would imagine. What most concerns researchers is not only the leak itself, but how the ecosystem responds to it. In many parts of the world, methanotrophic bacteria develop quickly, consuming much of the methane before it reaches the atmosphere. But in the freezing waters of Antarctica, these microbes take years just to appear and become active, allowing methane to escape unchecked before it can be absorbed. After 5 years of monitoring, scientists found that the buildup of methane showed no signs of decreasing, sounding an alarm about this hidden threat to the global climate. This discovery has shaken the scientific community as it exposes critical gaps in current climate change models. If there are more undetected methane leaks beneath Antarctica's thick ice, nature's forces may be far greater than anything our calculations have prepared us for. Each tiny bubble of gas under the Ross Sea is not just a sign of Earth's ongoing geological life. It stands as a warning about the deep connections between events at the very ends of the Earth and the future climate of all humanity. The tooth of a giant sea reptile in the Alps. In a discovery that stunned the scientific community, researchers in Switzerland uncovered a huge fossilized tooth belonging to a creature that once ruled the ancient oceans, the ichthyosaur. This tooth came from the largest marine reptile ever known on Earth, with an estimated body length of up to 20 meters and a weight that could reach 88 tons, figures that surpass even many of today's largest whales. What is remarkable is not only the giant size of this creature, but also the site of the discovery of the Alps, Europe's mighty mountain range. It's hard to imagine that this region, with its snow-capped peaks rising skyward, was once the floor of a deep sea millions of years ago. Over hundreds of millions of years, the slow forces of geological uplift have raised the ancient seabed high into these mountains, carrying with it the fossilized remains of life from a time when the world was ruled by oceans. The tooth belonged to a huge ichthyosaur, a formidable predator that once roamed the oceans during the Triassic and Jurassic periods. Fossils like this provide vivid proof of the strange diversity and overwhelming power of prehistoric marine reptiles. These were not just hunting machines with long streamlined bodies, giant fins, and eyes sharp as a hawk's. They were icons of extraordinary adaptation, thriving in a world where the boundaries of the seas were limitless and ever-changing. This discovery not only expands our understanding of ancient marine ecosystems, but also raises questions about Earth's changes through the ages. From a vast ocean teeming with giants, the Alps today stand as a symbol of the relentless change and evolution of nature itself. Every fossil unearthed here is a slice of time, connecting the distant past of deep oceans to the present heights of mountain peaks, leaving us in awe of the profound power of time and creation. Giant fossilized egg in Antarctica. Amid the icy, lonely landscape of Antarctica, a strange discovery has forever changed scientists' understanding of the prehistoric world. In 2011, on Seymour Island, where the wind whips relentlessly across rocks covered with snow and ice, Chilean researchers came across a fossilized object shaped like a deflated soccer ball. No one could have guessed that hidden beneath those freezing sediments was one of the largest fossilized eggs ever found, dating back 68 million years. What made this discovery so extraordinary was not only the egg's huge size, larger than any dinosaur egg previously unearthed, but also the lingering mystery of its true owner. Through careful analysis, scientists concluded that it likely belonged to a giant marine reptile, possibly a mosasaur, one of the sea monsters that ruled the Antarctic oceans when Earth was still the domain of dinosaurs. Fossils found nearby even included bones of young mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, suggesting that this area may have once been an ancient nesting ground for these legendary creatures. The appearance of this fossilized egg has overturned long-held theories about the reproductive habits of prehistoric marine reptiles. Previously, many believed that these massive aquatic animals gave birth to live young rather than laying eggs, since their enormous weight would have made it impossible for them to come ashore, like modern sea turtles. However, this discovery suggests another possibility, that even the largest marine reptiles may have found ways to lay eggs, either in the water itself or on sheltered coastal beaches where their young could begin life safely. This ancient egg is far more than a simple fossil. It is a vivid reminder of a lost world, where the mysteries of life still challenge the imagination of humankind. Locked within its hardened shell may be clues about how these ancient animals adapted, survived, and passed on life through millions of years of Earth's turbulent history. Pre-Columbian European beads in Alaska. Those tiny, glimmering blue beads, shining like drops of morning dew, might seem like ordinary jewelry at first glance, yet, when they were discovered in the frozen lands of Alaska, they opened up one of history's great mysteries. Excavations at several sites in northern Alaska brought archaeologists closer to a profound question: could waves of intercontinental trade have taken place long before Christopher Columbus set foot in the New World? Researchers uncovered blue glass beads with a distinct style known from 15th century Venetian workshops in Italy. Remarkably, these beads appeared alongside native artifacts buried in ancient layers of earth that dated back centuries before the first European explorers reached Alaska. Some analyses even suggest these beads may have arrived via an epic journey spanning the Eurasian continent, traveling across Siberia to Alaska through the trade networks of nomadic tribes long before Europe entered its so-called Age of Discovery. Yet, the story of these blue beads, their age and origin, remains the subject of fierce debate. Some argue they didn't arrive until the 16th or 17th century. Still, there is strong evidence to support the possibility that these European ornaments traveled with traders and migrants across a much more complex and ancient route than historians once imagined. Whatever the final verdict, this discovery has reignited curiosity about the meetings, exchanges, and interactions between civilizations at the far ends of the earth. It brings to mind images of snowy trails, caravans making their way across forests, grasslands, and icy straits, carrying small objects that served as quiet messengers of early global connection. Ultimately, the story of Alaska's blue beads stands as a reminder that perhaps long before Columbus set sail, ordinary people had already written the first chapters in the grand adventure that would link the continents. The Devil's Footprints in Devon, England. In the winter of 1855, a mysterious phenomenon turned life upside down in the quiet countryside of Devon, England. Before the sun had risen, the first villagers stepping outside were stunned by a bizarre scene that stretched across the clean blanket of freshly fallen snow. Imprinted in the snow were countless strange tracks, each deep and shaped like a cloven hoof, unlike anything ever seen from any local animal. The strangeness went beyond the shape of the tracks. They continued unbroken for miles, weaving through villages, slipping down narrow lanes, crossing over fences, and even appearing on rooftops and climbing up vertical walls. Locals recalled that the footprints crossed rivers as if the creature who made them had no fear of icy water or any obstacle in its path. Confusion swept through the community. People began to share all sorts of ideas, from demonic visitations to the arrival of some supernatural beast never before known. Panic quickly spread throughout Devon. The older generations, steeped in beliefs about the supernatural, insisted that only the devil himself could have left such traces, especially when the footprints appeared in places that no human or normal animal could possibly reach. Children refused to go outside after dark, and adults quietly bolted their doors at night, uneasy and wondering if the mysterious being would return. Many tried to explain the event. Some suggested the tracks belonged to an animal, perhaps a badger, or even some strange beast escaped from a traveling circus. Yet no one could identify a creature capable of leaving such even, continuous footprints over every kind of terrain. A few scientists of the day attempted to investigate, proposing that a group of small animals had foraged during the night and left the tracks. But these explanations fell short in the face of the event's strange details, which remain without a convincing answer. To this day, the tale of the Devil's Footprints in Devon remains hauntingly vivid. More than a century later, the mystery continues to fascinate. Was that winter night in 1855 truly the moment when the devil set foot on English soil? Or was it a curious trick of nature that people have yet to unravel? Each time new snow blankets Devon, the stories of those strange footprints are retold, woven into the very memory of England's rural countryside. The Garuda Bell in Cole. In 1944, in the quiet countryside of West Virginia, a boy named Newton Anderson made a discovery that would spark endless debate among archaeologists and mystery lovers alike. While helping his family, the boy accidentally dropped a large lump of coal. When the coal broke open, inside was a shiny metal object, a small brass bell. Its top intricately carved with the image of Garuda, the powerful bird deity from Hindu mythology, a sacred symbol never before seen in the history of America. The Garuda Bell, standing just 7 inches tall, immediately drew attention, not only for its unusual design, but also for the incredible circumstances of its discovery. The coal that held the bell was traced back to an ancient mine, estimated to be around 300 million years old, number that dwarfs every known human civilization. How could an artifact bearing the iconography of Hinduism, crafted in an unmistakably Eastern style, have ended up in a prehistoric layer of American Earth millions of years before humans even existed? That question has given rise to a host of theories and decades of heated debate. Some believe this is proof of a lost advanced civilization that once walked the earth, only to be buried by ages of mass extinction. Others have linked the discovery to legends of time travelers or ancient alien visitors who may have reached our planet in the distant past. Mainstream scientists, however, have been much more cautious. Many geologists and archaeologists suggest that the bell could have ended up inside the coal, purely by chance during the mining process, or that it may have become mixed in when the coal was brought to the surface. They also stress that dating an artifact by the age of the coal is unreliable, since coal deposits can shift or be affected by countless natural forces over millions of years. Despite the lack of a clear answer, the Garuda Bell remains a mystery that challenges everything we think we know. The image of the sacred bird, wings outstretched on top of the bell, brings to mind unwritten chapters of history and the possibility that entire civilizations have come and gone, leaving behind nothing but a stray relic. This story continues to fuel curiosity, inspiring people to keep searching for and unraveling the secrets buried deep beneath the layers of time, secrets that may stretch back hundreds of millions of years. The sunken Roman city, beneath the clear blue waters off the coast of Tunisia. Archaeologists have lifted the veil on the mysteries of a once glorious Roman city, Neapolis, place that for thousands of years existed only in legend and the faded pages of ancient history. Once a busy center of trade on the Mediterranean, the city was swept away in a single fateful night some 1,650 years ago, destroyed by a catastrophic double blow, a violent earthquake followed by a tsunami that erased all traces of life, burying Neapolis beneath the cold depths of the sea. Modern divers and researchers were left in awe when they first touched the city's perfectly preserved ancient stone streets, ruined houses, and the remains of public monuments, forums, city walls, and even the detailed sewer systems built by the Romans. Most striking of all were dozens of large amphorae that once held garum, the famous fermented fish sauce, the liquid gold that served as the essential seasoning of the Roman elite, still scattered across the site. Vivid proof of the city's lively manufacturing and trading life. What's truly remarkable is how well the city has been kept beneath the sea. Through layers of silt and salt water, the roads, storage jars, and structures have kept their shape, allowing us to almost picture the merchants, citizens, and Roman officials who once walked these streets. This amazing preservation has offered scientists a precious record of information about daily life, trade, and the international connections that Neapolis built with the wider ancient world. Yet, alongside the marvels of the past comes a stark warning for today's coastal cities. The disaster that buried Neapolis is no mere legend. It is a reality that could happen again at any moment. Geologists point out that the Mediterranean, along with many other coastal regions around the globe, still faces the threat of earthquakes and tsunamis. Today, Neapolis is more than just the story of a lost city rediscovered. It stands as a solemn reminder that prosperity can vanish in an instant, swept away by the forces of nature, leaving only silent ruins beneath the ocean, waiting to be found once again. Mysterious ancient toys in Israel. During excavations at the ancient site of Tel Jezreel in Israel, archaeologists uncovered a strange collection of artifacts, nearly 4,000 years old. Among the most intriguing finds were small discs, made of stone or chalk, each one drilled with two round holes at its center. Their simple shape brings to mind ancient buttons, tiny wheels, or perhaps even parts used in textile weaving, yet no one is truly sure of their original purpose. Some theories suggest they were decorative ornaments. Others believe they might have been used as small weights or tools for ancient crafts. But recently, a new idea has emerged. These little discs may have been toys for children of the ancient world. Based on their design and the presence of two holes, archaeologists now believe that a string could be threaded through and pulled taut, spinning the disc to produce a pleasant buzzing sound, much like a primitive version of a worry noisemaker or buzzing top. This theory becomes even more convincing when considering that similar objects have been discovered in Japan, Egypt, and even ancient America and Europe. In some places, discs were made from coins or broken pottery shards, suggesting they were a common part of children's lives across cultures. Though their original purpose remains a mystery, these small discs offer a lively glimpse into the childhoods of ancient civilizations. Perhaps amid the turmoil of ages past, the simple joy found in a handmade toy helped connect generations from the Middle East to far beyond the seas. Melting ice reveals ancient treasures in Norway. In the unfolding story of global climate change, the retreat of ancient glaciers is uncovering mysteries that have slept for centuries beneath the frozen earth. High in the mountains of Norway, where the Lendbreen Glacier has endured for ages on steep and rugged slopes, archaeologists have seen something truly unprecedented. As the ice pulls back, Hundreds of ancient artifacts have emerged like doorways, opening onto a past that no one ever dreamed could be reached. Along the mountain trails once traveled by people in ages gone by, the melting ice has returned to humanity, the vivid traces of ancient life. The discoveries at Lenbreen are remarkably varied, from a dog collar with its leash still attached to iron and wooden tools, garments preserved nearly intact, animal bones, weapons, and even a walking stick carved with mysterious runes. Many of these objects date from the Viking Age, the Bronze Age, and the Roman period, reflecting an unbroken flow of history stretching across thousands of years. But the value of these finds goes far beyond the physical artifacts themselves. Each item is a living piece of the past, telling stories of life, of dangerous journeys across the wild mountains. By studying these objects, experts have begun to rebuild scenes of people crossing snow and ice, leading their animals, carrying their belongings, and leaving behind quiet traces that only time and changing climate could one day reveal. Some discoveries, like well-preserved clothing left behind on the trail, have even raised new questions. Researchers now believe that in the extreme cold of these high mountains, hypothermia may have driven travelers to leave behind even their most essential belongings, never to return. Every item newly uncovered is a witness to history, telling future generations about ancient rituals, daring treks through the mountains, and the clever ways in which people adapted to a harsh environment. As the ice melts, these treasures do more than deepen our understanding of ancient life. They remind us of the fragility of all material things in the face of nature and time itself. The house where time stood still in Ireland. In the peaceful countryside of Northern Ireland, there exists a small, unassuming house that holds within its walls the flow of time itself, frozen and undisturbed. This was once the home of 3 reclusive brothers, and the last of them passed away in 2017. Since then, the house has stood empty, its loneliness deepening year after year. Few could have imagined that behind its humble front, the past would remain preserved like a hidden treasure, untouched for decades. When a neighbor received the right to inherit the property and began preparing to tear down the old house, a remarkable surprise appeared right before his eyes. Inside, the furniture and belongings had hardly changed since the early 20th century. Everything was left just as it had been on the day the last owner left. Old newspapers, hundreds of dust-covered love letters, faded books, antique banknotes, rusted kettles, and a derby hat hanging silently beside a grandfather clock, its hands forever frozen at 12:15. On the windowsill, a dusty curtain and a shirt lay draped, as if no one had ever touched them. People have called this house a time machine because everything inside reflects the habits, daily life, and unspoken thoughts of a bygone generation. Every little corner seems to bring back memories of evenings gathered around the fire, or endless days of fine Irish drizzle that drew families closer together in their modest homes. In particular, many valuable artifacts were saved in time by a local photographer who managed to capture and keep them before the house was finally torn down. This abandoned house is not just another old building. It stands as a living witness to local memory and culture, reminding us all of the lasting value of the past, especially in a world that moves faster with every passing day. The blood tragedy. Deep within the dense Amazon rainforest, a tragedy unfolded that sent shockwaves around the world. This is the story of the Cinta Larga tribe, also known as the Ska, a native community that had lived apart from the modern world for generations. In 2004, a violent clash broke out, resulting in the deaths of 26 diamond miners. This was an event that not only shook public opinion, but also raised serious questions about the fate of indigenous tribes and the simmering conflict between tradition and human greed. The roots of this tragedy can be traced back to the increasingly bold intrusions of outsiders into the sacred ancestral lands of the Cinta Larga. These intruders arrived with machinery, weapons, and an unyielding thirst for riches, quietly mining diamonds illegally beneath the jungle canopy. The land that once belonged to the tribe was carved up into mining plots, leaving deep scars across the forest and within the hearts of its people. It wasn't just their resources that were taken. The community also had to face strange new diseases and a flood of cultural changes they had never known before. The clash of traditional values, sacred beliefs handed down from their ancestors, and the lure of material wealth brought by outsiders slowly became the source of hatred and conflict. At the center of the story is Nakokiok, a man who had lost almost his entire family to a measles outbreak brought in by outsiders when he was still a child. Enduring a childhood of loss and hardship, he grew up to become the leader of the Cinta Larga, carrying both pride and generational pain in his heart. Nakokiok slowly became a bridge between his tribe and the modern world, striving to find a new path for his people amid the turmoil. Western media often accused him of being greedy, of selling mining rights for a life of luxury. But if you look deeper, you'll see that Nakokiok used part of those resources to bring healthcare, education, and livestock to his people, fighting to preserve their identity and improve the well-being of the community. The massacre of 2004 was a sobering warning about a painful reality. Conflict, violence, and legal indifference still play out daily in the heart of the Amazon. Again and again, tribes like the Sintalarga have had to face threats from mineral hunters, illegal loggers, and even lawless criminal gangs. Many attacks have taken place where the wrongdoers were never brought to justice. This tragedy did not only shake the destiny of one tribe, but also cast a long shadow over the fate of traditional values, now being buried under the relentless tide of modernization and human greed. While the green jungle still shelters ancient spirits, the struggle for justice for indigenous communities remains a difficult and uncertain journey, one whose end is nowhere in sight. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries. See you in the next video.